collusion, even if the current Mueller probe finds nothing. Amazing, isn't it? What's up, everybody? Truth Seeker here. Hillary literally urged the House Democrats to keep digging during a podcast with a former Daily Beast chief, Tina Brown. She stated, "There is enough grounds in what has already been made public for the government, for Congress in particular, to be doing more with it. And I'm pleased that under Speaker Pelosi, the Democrats are beginning to hold hearings and try to connect some of these dots." Daily Wire reported she doubled down on her dismay at the Democrats' annual Selma Unity breakfast Sunday morning, telling a rapt audience that we are living through a full-fledged crisis in our democracy, and that we are living through a time when racist and white supremacist views are lifted up in the media and the White House. Other attendees of the breakfast repeated Clinton's claim of having the election stolen from her by overzealous FBI agents and Russian hackers. They will never let go of this Russia story. Clinton's team was pushing the Russian collusion narrative within 24 hours after the election, even though it was clear Trump won a commanding victory in the Electoral College, even if she narrowly won the popular vote. But Special Counsel Robert Mueller's official investigation into the matter appears to be coming to a close. An Amazon placeholder for the report itself says the publication date is March 26th, and the DOJ officials have been trumpeting the report's release for a few weeks now. And it does not appear, at least from the subpoenas issued and charges filed, that Mueller has found much in the way of actual collusion. Trump associates Paul Manafort, Michael Cohen, and Roger Stone, all of whom have been indicted, were charged with crimes that took place well before the campaign or had nothing to do with any actual communications between the Trump campaign and Russia officials about influencing the election outcomes. And none of the charges involve President Donald Trump or implicate the president in any wrongdoing. Clinton seems more than a little disappointed by that development. Her last best hope is to direct the Democrats, who now control the House, to keep the narrative afloat well past its point of expiration. Fortunately, the Democrats are more than happy to comply with Clinton's edict. Representative Nancy Pelosi, Representative Adam Schiff, and others have opened multiple investigations into both President Donald Trump and the Trump administration. At least 20 individuals and corporations have already received congressional subpoenas demanding that they appear before Congress to answer questions about Trump's finances, his business dealings, his connections to Russia, his personal habits, and his tax returns. I mean, come on, how is this not a witch hunt? And it's amazing how the most crookedest one in the whole entire gang here is the one that's saying, if you don't find nothing, I want another investigation. Are you kidding me? I mean, she literally has to be completely insane. But this is just the tip of the iceberg, everybody. I mean, we're going to see some weird stuff this whole entire year just because the election's just right around the corner. This is literally 100% just anti-Trump sabotage campaigns. And they're trying to make Donald look bad, but really this is just making them look more and more ridiculous, because all this is producing is more people to walk away from them. Everybody's just seeing how crazy the left has become, and no one wants a part of that anymore. I mean, isn't the definition of insanity doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result? I mean, that's literally what they're saying. Hillary's actually saying, if you don't find anything, I want a new investigation, because there has to be something, which is just completely amazing. But this is pretty good signs that Mueller is at the end of the investigation, and obviously, just like we all thought, he didn't find anything. The left tries to throw in, oh, look at all the people that he indicted. And like I said earlier, these were all people that did things way before the campaign, way before. And the funnier part about it is a lot of these players that have been talked about with the congressional hearings but hasn't really been shed light on yet is about to get a lot of new exposure coming up here really soon, because Operation Crossfire Hurricane is 100% fully exposed. It's blown wide open. Everybody knows about it. Andrew McCabe publicly admitted that it was a coup that they created. So Hillary is literally panicking right now, because she knows exactly what is about to happen to her. There's no more protecting these people. The only way that they can actually gain just a little tiny bit of protection is getting Trump out of office. And you guys see it for yourselves already. How many attempts that were already made to try to get this man out of office? And that should literally tell the whole world something right there.
There's a very serious side to all of this. What this is really all about is the Democrats, they want to make the next 2 years about trying to wear you out, wear you down, to try and destroy the president. They want a death by 1,000 cuts if they can't impeach, building a public record of testimony every single second hour of every 24-hour day, hoping you will tire out, make you want to abandon the president who's had so much success so that they can build more power, enact this radical socialist agenda for America's future. That's what it's all about, power and their agenda, because they can't get it done any other way. They don't think. And by the way, now that it's become clear, Mueller isn't going to give them what they want. That's why this is now Plan B and C and D and E and F all at once. Look at everything. Open a widest net possible. All things Trump. Anything he's come into contact with over decades, then concoct new conspiracy theories, launch more phony investigations, but don't serve the American people. And it's not just Nadler's committee. Look at House Intel Committee Chairman Adam Schiff, who, by the way, I can prove is the biggest phony hypocrite liar in Congress. He can now barely contain himself, to say he will accept Mueller's findings. He doesn't want to accept them. Instead, he's promising a new set of investigations after 2 years of investigation into the so-called Russia-Trump conspiracy theory. And he continues to lie about this evidence, and that's something that House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy pushed back on hard yesterday. Congressman McCarthy will be here in a minute. Also remember, if you want real evidence of real collusion, Adam Schiff, we have him on tape colluding with Russians, literally conspiring to dig up dirt on Donald Trump. We have the tape of it, colluding with Russians for dirt on Trump. Why won't the media mob play this? Take a listen.
He was in Moscow in November 2013. He met with a journalist and...
Well, she's poor journalist, but anyway, she became famous because of Putin is her godfather.
Okay, Putin's godfather. Okay.
She also known as a person who provides girls for escort for oligarchs, and she met with Trump and she brought him our Russian girl, celebrity, Olga Buzova, who also known as a person with a strange reputation.
Olga, and how do you spell her name?
Olga Buzova.
And what's the nature of the compromise?
Well, there were pictures of naked Trump.
And so Putin was made aware of the availability of the compromising material?
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much. We will be back in touch with you through our staff to make arrangements to obtain these materials for our committee and for the FBI, and I appreciate you reaching out to us.
Yes, thank you, comrade. By the way...
I mean, it's just crazy. Every single thing that the left is sitting here trying to blame Trump for doing, they've actually done. And you don't see the FBI or DOJ or anybody shuffling them around, kicking in their doors with search warrants and everything else. You don't see none of this stuff happening to any of them on that side. Yet, it's all Trump.
Into alleged Trump-Russia collusion if the current Mueller probe finds nothing. Hillary urged House Democrats to keep digging. During a podcast with former Daily Beast chief Tina Brown, there is enough grounds in what has already been made public for the government, for Congress in particular, to be doing more with it, Clinton said. And I'm pleased that under Speaker Pelosi, the Democrats are beginning to hold hearings and try to connect some of these dots. DailyWire.com reports, she doubled down on her dismay at the Democrats' annual Selma Unity breakfast Sunday morning, telling a rapt audience that we are living through a full-fledged crisis in our democracy, and that we are living through a time when racist and white supremacist views are lifted up in the media and the White House. Other attendees of the breakfast repeated Clinton's claims of having the election stolen from her by overzealous FBI agents and Russian hackers. There's some clear fear here. Clinton's team was pushing the Russian collusion narrative within 24 hours after the election, even though it was clear Trump won a commanding victory in the Electoral College, even if she narrowly won the popular vote. But special counsel Robert Mueller's official investigation into the matter appears to be coming to a close. An Amazon placeholder for the report itself says the publication date is March 26th, and Dodge officials have been trumpeting the report's release for a few weeks now, and it does not appear, at least from the subpoenas issued and the charges filed, that Mueller has found much in the way of actual collusion. Trump associates Paul Manafort, Michael Cohen, and Roger Stone, all of whom have been indicted, were charged with crimes that took place well before the campaign, or had nothing to do with any actual communication between the Trump campaign and Russian officials about influencing the election's outcome, and none of the charges involve President Donald Trump or implicate the president in any wrongdoing. Clinton seems more than a little disappointed by that development. Her last best hope is to direct Democrats, who now control the House, to keep the narrative afloat well past its point of expiration. Fortunately, the Democrats are more than happy to comply with Clinton's edict. Representative Nancy Pelosi, D. California, Representative Adam Schiff, D. California, and others have opened multiple investigations into both President Donald Trump and the Trump administration. At least 20 individuals and corporations have already received congressional subpoenas demanding that they appear before Congress to answer questions about Trump's finances, his business dealings, his connections to Russia, his personal habits, and his tax returns. Please take a moment. Would you be willing to contribute only $5 to our channel? With your assistance, we could fund voiceover, video editing, and pay for bills. Our channel needs more partners like you to help achieve.
The issues were that throughout 2018, the bond market, every time Mr. Powell would get on television and say he's going to raise short-term rates, the bond market would oblige, and there'd be a bond sell-off, and long-term rates would advance ahead of short-term rates, allowing him to raise those rates. In December, they finally said, enough is enough. The economy's not strong enough to justify higher long-term rates. And that's when he came out, he again announced a short-term rate increase in the federal funds rate, and all of a sudden, there was basically a flight to quality, and the 10-year Treasury dropped by 50 basis points. And that sent a strong message that enough is enough. And, there's a reason that everyone says, the bond market tends to be a little smarter than the stock market. So I think we and he should listen to what the bond market's trying to tell us.
We want to just bring out, we are waiting on earnings this morning, and we've got earnings hitting the tape right now. We got an earnings beat to report, but we're also looking at the ramifications of Jay Powell's testimony yesterday. He spoke to the Senate Banking Committee yesterday. He's going to speak with the House today, and the head of the central bank commented on the expansion. Let me play this soundbite, get your take on this. Listen to this.
We want to use our tools to sustain this expansion and keep the labor market strong and keep inflation near 2%. That's exactly what we're trying to do. And so we look around and what do we see? We see a labor market that is strong and continuing to strengthen. Job creation is strong. Wages are moving up. So that's a very healthy thing. The committee has decided that with our policy rate in the range of neutral, with muted inflation pressures and with some of the downside risks that we've talked about, this is a good time to be patient and watch and wait and see how the situation evolves. 2017 was a year of synchronized strong growth really around the world. It was a very good year, and we were feeling a tailwind from that. That has now turned into a bit of a headwind for us. Our economy, though, I think the outlook for our economy is still a favorable one, still a positive one, but nonetheless, this will be a headwind.
Your reaction, David, you're seeing real slowdown. I mean, the European estimates in terms of growth in Europe are 1%, David. What did you take away from that?
Well, you always have to decode, if you will, the Fed's language. And, what he's trying to say is that he's trying to be an optimist. He's trying to be a Fed, economic cheerleader, if you will. But at the same time, he's saying, there's some signs out there if you read between the lines. And, More and more economists now are saying they're concerned about recession in 2020, and some are even indicating the end of 2019. So when he says he's willing to use whatever tools the Federal Reserve has, you have to be open to the possibility of that the next move in interest rates might just be downward and not upward.
Because of the slowdown in the economy. Real quick, would you be putting new money to work here, or do you want to hold your powder dry given what you're expecting on the economy?
In the stock market, I think right now cash is king. One has to be extremely cautious. In the fixed income markets, though, I think the headwind is pretty much subsided, and there's still some really good opportunities in fixed income.
David, thanks so much. Thanks for joining us this morning. Good to see you.
Same here. Thank you.
David Scranton joining us.